Hey, everyone. Happy Monday.
How are you all on this 6 weeks of sequestering?
Yeah, we might be on seventh week. I'm not sure.
I can't even keep track anymore,
Yeah,
but it's kind of becoming normal. That's the scary part is I'm kind of feeling like it's almost feeling a little bit normal, and then something comes out of left field, and it reminds me this is so not normal in any way.
right?
But I'm so excited about our show today. So this is last week we had part one with JJ Peterson from StoryBrand, the StoryBrand podcast, and the business, which is all about marketing for your website, for your content, for your blogs, for everything. And he touched on the StoryBrand framework just a little bit last week. But this week is where he dives deep and he shares the whole 7-step formula. And he really gives a great analogy and just incredible content that he shared with us. And it's so simple to understand it that I can't wait for you all to hear it. And this is one where, last week was great, but this one is truly the technical part where you want to really pay attention and have your notebook and your pen and be ready to go. Yes, you can still have your wine or your cocktail, but be ready for this one because are you set? Ed's set. Because it's just chock full with amazing content. And the other part that I love about JJ is he gives little tidbits in there that they don't usually share on the show or the podcast or in their books that are just from his experiences. And they're really, really golden little tips that I know I started implementing right away into my business. So it's going to be cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And if you guys are watching the replay, be sure to say hello, drop a comment down below. I'd love to say hi to you guys as well. And let us know what you picked up from this episode. We always like to know what little golden nuggets you've taken away, because that's the whole point of showing up, right?
That's right. Yeah. So, and also, let us know what you've been up to. What are you doing? I know I've been talking with a lot of my friends and we're cooking more. The Zoom calls in the beginning, Ed, we were doing more of the Zoom calls and just kind of chatting and connecting and just feeling like there's actually a world out there. But for me and some of my friends, we've kind of lessened that. What about you, Ed? Are you still doing a lot of those connections?
No,
Like
sort
just
of.
the social part.
Yeah, I think that people are getting Zoom fatigued, and there's a lot.
Zoom fatigue, yeah.
Everyone's trying to do the Zoom calls, and it's kind of now people are starting to get into a routine, not necessarily the normal routine or whatnot, but people are starting to get into a routine of, okay, I kind of got to do some work here. I kind of got to do this. There's more of, I don't want to say normal, but people are getting into a routine that doesn't necessarily mean all the time for these Zoom calls.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's interesting to see how it's all unfolding and what's occurring. And but I've been hearing from some business people that have come up with some really cool ideas, just having this downtime where they can actually finally think and work on their business, not in their business. And they're coming up with pivots and they're coming up with new revenue streams and just stronger business plans. And it's really quite fascinating to see. And Ed, you've been working quite a bit on that.
Yeah, this is definitely the time. Let us know any pivots you guys have made as well in the comments. But yeah, for me, I've definitely taken this time to really learn and actually implement what I've been learning. Been taking the course from StoryBrand, working on my messaging and my marketing around my new course, and just being able to take it all in and be able to really apply it and really take the time versus I got to check it off my list and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, we have a little bit more breathing room. So I feel like the stuff that I've been working on, it's more well thought out.
Yes.
I'm not, like you said, I'm not rushing through it and then going back and trying to fix it, but really feeling like I need to get it. I can just breathe and actually enjoy it a little bit more. So that's been one really interesting thing. And for those, I don't know, some of you know what I do and some of the different things I do, but I have a couple different businesses. And so we've been kind of one of our long time businesses. I've been focusing on that. And today I was telling Ed, I added on a chat bot, and we're setting up something called Vidyard. Check that out. If you guys have not heard of it, or if you've not used it, go check it out. It's really cool. It's a video. It's a way that you can send emails with video in it with a call to action, and you can make them very personalized. It's just cool. So there's Vidyard, and there's a couple of other ones out there too, but go look at those if you are big with emails, because it's a way to personalize and really kind of connect with your clients a bit more. So it's cool.
That's awesome. And that's always fun when you can find those tools that will help make your life a lot easier. Might take a little time up front to invest, but it definitely will pay off in the long run and make your life so much easier.
Yeah. And so just kind of taking some time to look at these things and come up with new concepts. I have a new Google AdWords campaign that's coming out. Yeah, but I mean, just as far as some other clients go, I'm trying to think right now. I feel like I have pressure on me, but some of the things that clients have come up with. I know there's one person who she has a restaurant, and of course, restaurants are being hit so darn hard. But now they have these lasagnas that they're sending out with, the whole package: lasagna, salad, from this very, very gourmet restaurant. And this is not what they usually sell. They usually don't sell kind of the mainstream family dinners, but they are right now. And they're doing very, very well. So, that's one pivot.
That's the exciting thing, I think, for restaurants specifically that I'm seeing. I know that it's a challenging time for everyone, especially restaurants, but it's one of those times that's exciting at the same time, because I think restaurants are going to be able to find out what signature dishes work for them, how they can simplify their menu. Instead of offering 100 different items, they really focus on only the 5 or 10 and really get known for that, and really have that specific dish that people come to you for. And that experience, like you were just saying, it's not just the dish, it's the whole package. And so that's what I see as the exciting part for restaurants, is being able to make that pivot and discover that they don't really need all the things that they thought they did, and they can just really narrow down, just like we talked about in business anyway, with niching down and really getting specific with what you do and who you serve.
Yes, and I think that's a really good point. Niche down. A lot of new people who come into being an entrepreneur, they have so much knowledge. This is when a lot of people, when they do start a business, they've been in the business world for a long time. They have a ton of experience doing different things, wearing different hats, and then they start their own business. And it's like they throw the spaghetti at the wall and nothing sticks. That's the problem. So niching down, really, what are they saying? The riches are in the niches.
Yep.
And it's true. So really look at your full business, look at the data, look at what's needed, look at who your target market is, and do some research. Really dive in, look at the data, look and see who buys this. This is so key, and it will save you time, and it will definitely save you a lot of money when you do that.
100%. And if you need help, reach out to Midori, because Midori is also helping me with getting my stuff in order. So definitely reach out to her, because she's amazing at this.
Oh, well, thank you. But yeah, it's I've done it, and I've thrown a lot of money out the window, and now I have learned, just over the 30 years of being in business, that really it's all about the niches and knowing your target market, knowing what they're saying, knowing what their pain points are and what they need. And it will change everything. But this episode, that's why I love JJ Peterson, who's talking on this, JJ and Donald Miller, because they just say it so eloquently. And they talk about staying focused on your client and on your messaging and being super clear. And they have a full formula that they're going to be sharing with us tonight.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are too. Even if you're watching the replay, be sure to pop in, just like Dorothy over here. Hello, hope you both are doing well. We hope you are doing well as well. There you go. So are we ready,
Hi, Dorothy.
Midori, to jump into it?
Let's do it. Let's get
All right.
started.
All right, here we go, you guys.
Those are the 7 elements. A character who wants something, who encounters a problem, who meets a guide, who gives them a plan, calls them to action, and then we know what success and failure looks like. So transferring that to your brand. What you need to understand is when you're creating the story, what you're doing is you're actually not telling your story, you're inviting the customer into a story. You're engaging them in their own story, actually, and telling their story back to them. And so what you need to understand is that the character of the story is not your business, it is the customer. The customer is the hero of your story. And you need to identify very quickly and succinctly what it is that the character wants. And you need to articulate that in all of your branding. You almost need to say, I know that you're looking for blank. Because what that does is it doesn't make the character have to burn too many calories. They understand very quickly, oh, this is my story. This is what they're here for. You know you want marketing. The problem is your messaging is confusing, and which makes you feel frustrated. Then the guide comes in, and this is the biggest shift of the StoryBrand framework is you are the guide in the story, not the hero. And you need to position, the story is not about you. Because when you make yourself the hero, and you talk about yourself all the time, what you're doing is you're putting yourself in competing stories with your customer. And so I may like you, but I'm not going to give you money because you're out for your win and I'm out for my win, and you're not in my story. So never, ever, ever position yourself as the hero in the story. You're the guide. And the way you do that is with empathy and authority. So we understand what it's like to be where you are. We understand how frustrating that can be, but we've also won the day, and we've helped other people win the day. So we understand how frustrating it can be to lose out to an inferior competitor, but we have helped over 10,000 companies clarify their message and win the day. Empathy and authority, that's all you need. Then you give them a plan. This is how we do it. And it's a 3-step plan, 1, 2, 3, and you show them how you're going to help them win the day. Then give a clear call to action, buy now. Don't say learn more. That is not a clear call to action. Say buy now, schedule a call. What is it that you want them to do? You have to give them something to accept or reject, or they will not do it.
So wait, I have a question right here. Yeah. So JJ, we talk about a lot about relationship marketing, right? You have to build these relationships. So how long does it take to build all this up, to build up a trust level where they will even make a phone call, where they will, because often they won't.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So,
well, they will. They're more likely to than we think. A lot of times, I think people, if you're worried about, so we never want to be those people who are like, I'm the crazy guy who's sawing a mattress in half. Call now, like those kind of like, we're not going to be over, or call now. We're not those people. And I would say that if you're concerned about overselling, then you're probably not. that you're probably actually underselling. It's good to be conscious of bombarding your customers with too much ask. But the thing is that so this is part of why that comes way later in the story. You've already introduced that you understand what they're looking for and that you understand they have a problem. And that you've been there and helped other people and you have a way forward. And then you're asking them to buy. So you're not just doing it. In fact, so in my book, I have a book coming out March 17th. And in the book, we actually talk about how relationships are built, right? So it starts with curiosity. So when people are curious, you don't want to ask them for the sale. They're just like a little curious about you. They want to know a little bit more, but you actually have to educate them. You have to build the relationship and call them to action through that. So it starts with curiosity. And when you start by just speaking their story, when you say, I know what you're interested in, and I actually have experienced your same problem before. That's not coming in and just going, buy now, call now. You're setting that up down further in the story, even if it's 2 sentences. This does not require a full, like, oh, you need an entire video and an entire sales funnel. You can actually do this in 2 sentences, and I'll show you in just a second how to do that. So just to finish out the framework, so after the call to action, you also need to cast a vision for what life is like if people buy your product, which is success. So when they buy your product, they have more free time. They're going to be able to grow. They're going to engage with customers more. And you have to acknowledge that if they don't buy your product, they're probably going to continue to be frustrated. Right? There is some failure. There has to be stakes in the story. The bomb that's about to explode cannot be filled with baby powder. It has to be a real consequences for not doing action with you. So that's kind of the whole framework. So what we do is we help companies write out those 7 elements of their story, basically just 1 or 2 sentences that identify the talking points out of each of those buckets. And then you ultimately put it in your sales collateral, in your sales funnel, everything from a one-liner to a website, lead generator, emails. And that's actually what my book does. It's called Marketing Made Simple. And it walks through every step of how to use this language and very quickly create. It's literally step by step. Here's what to put in emails. Here's what to put on a website. Here's what to put in lead generation. But to give you an example of this, so here's something. If a lot of times I go to a party and I say to somebody, what do you do? And they start out by going, well, it's confusing, or well, it's complicated. Based on what I've already said, if somebody tells me what I do is complicated, they're making me burn too many calories. I have no idea how that has to do with my survival and thriving, and I'm immediately starting to turn off. I may be interested in them, but I'm not automatically drawn in to engage or buy something for them. And what's funny is what people don't realize is when we say things like, well, it's complicated, what we're trying to say is, I'm really what it's really subconsciously being said is, I'm really smart. You're probably not going to understand. What you want to do is take those elements of story and start to plug that into even answering the question, what is it that you do? So when somebody asks me what I do, I start with a problem that I know they're experiencing. So let's just say, for instance, for your audience in this, I can imagine that many of them, like go-getters, like let's even take it out of the marketing and messaging space, which is what I really work in, but we also just communication framework in general. So let's say so many people who are entrepreneurs and go-getters start building this company, and they get a ton of people around them, and they have a hard time getting everybody on board with the same mission. I just start with a problem. And then I say, so I actually work for a company called StoryBrand, where we use a story framework to help people clarify their message. And when they do that, they actually see more engagement, more buy-in, and the team is united around a single mission. Problem, solution, success. So problem, plan, success. I just took 3 elements of the story. So what I actually say when somebody says, what do you do? If I don't want to engage with them, I say I do marketing and branding. Like if I'm on an airplane and I don't want to give advice, they go, what do you do? And I go, marketing and branding. And they're like, oh, neat.
Yeah.
And then put the earphones in and we're done. If I'm if I really want to engage, or I'm in an Uber and, I know I'm going to be there for 10 minutes and that's it. I will say, they'll say, so what do you do? And I'll say, well, a lot of companies are so close to their product that they have a hard time explaining what it is they do in a way that gets more customers. At StoryBrand, we've created a 7-part framework that actually helps people clarify their message. And when they use this, their businesses grow and their customers engage at a higher rate.
Okay, wait. So I want to pause you there, because what you're saying is, for you say it all the time, so you know it so well.
Yes.
But I want to break it down a little bit for the people listening.
Yeah.
So, when let's talk about going to a cocktail party, and someone comes up and they ask you, JJ, what you're saying is you tell them a story, but you have that hook. I talk about this a lot with shows, is you need an opening hook to get them in, to get them to buy in. So you're saying something that is probably their pain point if they are an entrepreneur, a business owner, or even involved with business. And then you lay out how you do it, but you're doing it concisely. So you're not
Very
all over
short.
the place saying, "Oh,
You're not causing people to burn calories." No,
it's very.
you're not telling the full story, right? So that just engages with the curiosity. That's really the first level of the sales funnel, is getting people curious. When I give that one-liner, usually then people go, "Oh my gosh, I that's exactly me," or "Yes, that happens all the time. Tell me more."
Yes.
That's when now you start, and what I do then is I start again with the problem. So people will go, "Now tell me more." I say, well, a lot of people like waste a lot of time creating marketing. They want good marketing, but they have no idea what to write in their emails or put on their website. It's just guessing. So now I'm ramping up the problem a little bit more. And I say, they put up a website. They think that they've got this beautiful website and sales are going to go through the roof, and they don't. It's just flat. Or people call and ask them to solve a problem that you don't even offer a solution for. So I'm just ramping up the problem. And then I go, it's because they're telling the wrong story. And then I will explain a little bit more about the full framework and that you're the guide, not the hero. And then this is always important. You have to show why that matters. So at the end, most people just go, "So this is what we do." But you actually have to tack on. And when people do this, they see this kind of success and they stop feeling this kind of failure. And that's all part of it, because it's not that people are dumb, it's that they don't have time to go there on their own in the story. We think, we just say, "Yeah, I have a messaging framework that helps people clarify their message." That's not going to engage. I'd say when people use this, their business grows, they get more customers, their websites convert more, their emails convert more, and they stop being frustrated over the fact that they're wasting time and money just throwing spaghetti at a wall to see what works. See what sticks, right? So and that's the way I think now. I just think in a story framework.
There's so much there. And I want to clarify a little bit more about why I love StoryBrand. One, I've seen it work multiple times. It's helped my company. It's helped my son's company grow really, really rapidly. We have read your book, the first book that, the StoryBrand book.
Yep, Building a Story Brand.
Building a Story Brand. And then now there's this marketing book. But the core elements that you are talking about, all of you listening to this or watching this right now, I want you to make sure that you're paying attention to what he's saying. I see all the time. I see you guys putting stuff out on Facebook and Instagram, all about you. And although people might think you're beautiful and gorgeous, that is not going to get the phone ringing. And that's what JJ's talking about. So with everything you do, with your blog posts, with your stuff on social media, if you're going to get up and talk on stage, it's the same thing. And once you get this down, it becomes your habit of what you're repeating over and over and over.
This is the thing that really drew me into StoryBrand, is I was in marketing and I was in branding, but I always felt like I had to tell like this better story and show how great we are and all these things. And it felt a little grandiose and it felt gross. It felt like I'm just trying to sell myself all the time. And I hated that. If you would have asked me before, "Are you a salesperson?" I would have said, "No, I am not." And yet I am, because once I shifted my mindset to say, I'm not the hero, I'm the guide. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. And so the way I talk about myself is how I can understand your problems, and I've moved a way forward. And the other powerful thing about understanding that you are the guide, not the hero of the story, is if you think about it from a movie perspective, the guides are the strongest characters in the story. The heroes are weak. Heroes are up and down. They doubt themselves, then they win the day, and then they get in trouble. And then they get the girl, and then they become selfish, right? They're up and down. They don't actually become the hero till the very end. But the guide stays consistent the whole time and is there to help the hero win the day. So when you position yourself as the guide, you're actually positioning yourself as strong, not weak. And you're saying the character, subconsciously, you're the weak one, and I'm here to help you move through your journey. Because if they could do it on their own without you, they would, and they don't need you. But there is a problem, and you have to articulate that over and over and over again. So the guide stays consistent, the guide stays strong, and the guide talks about themselves. But the only reason, if you think about Hunger Games, right, the guide is Haymitch. He has won the Hunger Games Have you seen Hunger Games?
I have.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So Haymitch he's the guide to Katniss. He's won the Hunger Games, and he knows what it's like to be in that arena and have to kill children. So he knows the pain. He has empathy, but authority. He's won the day. If the movie or the story is about Katniss opening a thrift store or falling in love, Haymitch doesn't matter in that story. He's just a drunk in the town. However, so somebody else would need to come in. So the only reason Haymitch matters is because he's been there, done that. We don't know anything about, was he married? Has he been married? Did he have a successful career outside of this? What's his family like? How old is he? We know nothing about Haymitch. We think we know Haymitch. We only know Haymitch in relationship to Katniss's story. So same thing for us as entrepreneurs, business owners. When we do About Us sections on our website, you can do About Us sections. In fact, some of those on websites are the highest click buttons, About Us. But when I say something along the lines of About JJ, you will not see that I was in a Missy Elliott music video in my bio. You won't see even some of the stuff that I talked about in that personal part in the beginning with us. You'll hear me talk about my passion for communication, my passion for story, my passion for helping people get a clear message and give the microphone to the good people. I'm sick and tired of people who have inferior products but are louder about their message and more clear, winning the day. I'm tired of it. I want to give the good people the microphone. So that's the stuff you will see in my bio. You don't know if I'm married. You don't know how many kids I have. You don't actually know where I live. You just know my story that I want to tell you in relationship to your problems and how I can help you win the day. That's it. So that's the same thing on, like you said, Instagram, blog posts, everything. It's fine to talk about yourself, but it's only fine to talk about yourself in the context of the people's story. And because guides are consistent and strong through the whole story, you don't ever want to be, people talk about vulnerability a lot in relationship with customers and getting to know you and stuff. You can be vulnerable in every area of life except the area that you are going to guide people in. So essentially your product and service, you cannot be vulnerable in that. So, and let me give you, if you listen to the podcast, you heard my story about, I went to a dentist because I had an emergency tooth extraction. And I went into the dentist and he took an x-ray and he stood there and he stepped back from the x-ray and he started going, this is going to be rough. This is going to be rough. I do not want my guide, my dentist, being vulnerable in that moment. I don't want it, right? I don't want him to go, man, this is going to be hard. I don't know how we're going to do this. And he literally was doing that.
I'm like a commercial.
Panic attack. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. That like when good, when okay is not good enough, right? So you can be vulnerable. So if you sell business coaching, but you want to be vulnerable about your kids, that's fine. That's actually totally fine. Or vulnerable about like how you're confused about finding a place to go on vacation. That's fine. But when it comes like, man, business is really hard, isn't it? And I just still some days don't know what I'm doing. You think that's connecting with your audience? You're not. You're positioning yourself as a hero. You have a problem and you need a guide, but you're not my guide. So you can say business is hard. I have been there. I have been there where it was tough and every day was a struggle, but I found a way forward, or I've looked to somebody to help me and now I help others. So you can be vulnerable of I was struggling in the past, but I found a way forward, or I've helped way forward. I've worked with people who struggled. So feel free to be vulnerable in any situation except the situation that specifically you're going to charge people to fix.
Got it.
Do not be a vulnerable guide. You can be vulnerable personally, but not as a guide.
Okay. As a parent's okay. With wine is okay, but not.
100%. Yeah. And you don't want to say, man, you know what I mean? You don't want to say, man, being an entrepreneur is rough. I wake up every day and I don't know what I'm doing, but we're doing this together.
Yeah. Do you have your credit card out? Yes. Yeah. It's so true. And I love everything you're saying because you're making it so simple. Really. I mean, so many of us struggle and, try to figure out what's going on in our business, right? Why am I not making these goals that I set? I'm working really hard and I'm doing all of this. I'm putting up my posts, like I said, I'm sending out blogs, I'm doing everything. Why isn't it working? But as a coach, if I come in and say, oh my gosh, I know I'm having the same problem right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why would you trust me? Makes sense.
And that's the thing, it's any of us who've been in marketing or branding or talked about ourselves for a long time, a lot of the stuff that I've just mentioned in the story framework is pretty intuitive, or we've stumbled upon it by accident. Like something we posted or said, like really connected. That's like, oh, that worked. Why did that work? Well, because there's rules. There's actually rules to all of this. And when you follow the rules, it works. And so same thing, I've been doing and teaching this for 20 years. And I came to one of the very first StoryBrand workshops as a client. I was going to brand my television show. And I just came, Don was a friend, and I just wanted to come and check it out because he's like, oh, you'd be interested. And I fell in love because it took everything that I've been trying to do in marketing and talking about myself and raising funds for nonprofits, and gave me the language and the framework to create. So I ended up doing my PhD dissertation on narrative marketing and how switching to narrative marketing actually works and why it works, and then ultimately tested it out. And basically it proved that it works for everybody.
Yep.
It can work for everybody. And the only thing that matters, like you can be a large company, a small company, individual, giant corporation, nonprofit, solopreneur, entrepreneur, new business, anything. It works the same for everybody. The framework actually is very applicable. The only variable, didn't matter if you're a man, woman, old, young, marketing background, no marketing background, the only variable was if you actually created the story and implemented it or not.
Okay, so JJ, this is incredible. I know people are going to want to know more, and you have the new book coming out. Yeah. Where do we go? Where do we go to find all this?
Our new book, Marketing Made Simple, which takes all of this information and boils it down to how do you implement this? Basically, how do you make money off of this? How do you get people more engaged? The book is called Marketing Made Simple. You can get it on Amazon. And when you get Marketing Made Simple, you can go to marketingmadesimplesummit.com and you'll input the number off your receipt, and you will get some videos that are part of our Marketing Made Simple Summit, which is 5 videos that basically pull back the curtain on how StoryBrand thinks about marketing. It gives you some tips you can start using now, even before the book comes. So order Marketing Made Simple, then go to marketingmadesimplesummit.com and register, and you'll get videos and get signed up, and you'll get 5 videos that basically things we've never talked about or written down before that pull back the curtain and go, here we go.
I love it. And I think the more that I've listened to all your podcasts, I have the first book, I'm going to get the second book because I use it with my clients. But the more that we hear it, the more that we go through these programs, you buy a $20 book, what an investment, right?
Yeah.
And then go through the program that you're talking about. The more we hear it, the more it becomes in our DNA.
100%.
So yeah, thank you so much, JJ.
No
this
problem.
has been, my head's blown. I know that it's going to help so many people, and I just appreciate you spending a little extra time with us.
I love
share
it.
your wisdom. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. How was that? What do you guys think? Super awesome, right?
He just shares nuggets, right?
Yeah, I was.
And yes, yeah, he just lays it out. But that's really, if you follow that system, Ed and I have both done parts of their program, and I keep coming back to it. And I know a lot of other people who have too. And the way that he lays it out is just so you got to go back and listen to it a few times and just really take notes and catch new things. But there's a lot of nuances. I don't know if, for me, watching it on the live, I was seeing it was my end was a little bit sluggish. I don't know if people had it, and I think you were okay.
Yeah, I was good.
You could see
taking notes. Yeah, it was great. I loved how he said.
Okay.
Well, he said quite a few things, but I loved how he said. Where is it? I wrote a few different ones, so I want to make sure. I guess it's this one. It starts with curiosity, because I talk about curiosity marketing a lot, and I loved how you brought that up, and that's how you build relationships, and it's so true especially when it comes to social media posts. It's really, that's how you get engagement. That's how you get to know people and how they get to know you and what you do and offer and all of that. marketing, as we've talked about before, it's all about starting the conversation. That's what marketing really is at the core level, is starting the conversation. And so when he talks about it being starting with curiosity, that's where the conversation starts.
It does. Pique their interest and then let them see you shine and answer their questions that they've been thinking in their head or the issues that they've been having. It's a great way to do it.
Yeah, this is a great episode.
So anyway, yeah. So I will post, if you go to my website, themoxlife.com/live, that's where you will see other episodes and you'll see JJ's face, and that I will include the links to both episodes. So the first episode and the second one will be there. So you can click on those, watch the whole thing. You can rewatch it, you can rewind, you can do whatever you want. But that's where it will be.
Love it.
All right. Is that a wrap?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Ed.
Popping that up on the
screen. There it is.
You know, quick.
Nice. It even matches the colors.
You know, I
Good
try.
job. All right. You're so awesome. You're such a stud muffin. All right, everyone. Have a great night. We will see you next week. Next week, we have a fun show. It's with the Corona Brothers.
Yes.
Yeah. So the coronavirus. What's the name of the show, Ed? It's called the Coronavirus Bachelors.
Bachelors. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they are a lot of fun and talk about a business that just kind of arose from what we're going through. They really have done a great job, and they've gotten sponsorships, and they're having fun, and they're giving out toilet paper. They've just nailed it. So you want to be here for that one. Ed and I are both interviewing at the same time, and it's a fun episode with good marketing nuggets in there too.
So good. So if you guys need help with marketing, which we all do, definitely be sure to tune in next week because you're in for a real treat. And it's organic marketing, which makes me so happy.
All right, you guys, we will see you next week. Take care.
Take care, everyone.